He's Thundarr, I'm E-Lightning, and welcome to Sports Storm.
Today we will be doing our updated NFL mock draft. It is under a month away. Now that free agency is over, let's hop right into the first pick in the 2016 NFL draft. Who do you think the Tennessee Titans will select in this upcoming draft?
So I definitely see as Jaylen Ramsey. I definitely can see all the logic behind him getting drafted, completely agree with it, right? But I'm going to have Laremy Tunsil going number one only because I feel like you kind of need to address the offensive line, as if you get Laremy Tunsil, you'll basically complete the offensive line. And having a complete offensive line for the future is a very good thing and rare thing to have in this NFL. So I feel like that's one of the options they could go to, and that's the option I'm going to have them going to.
I'm going to have him go the other option, take Jaylen Ramsey. I think he's the most talented player in the draft. Earlier today, he was kind of staking his claim, trying to be the number one pick. He said he's a mix between Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor. And I honestly see that happening. I think he can be a multiple Pro Bowl safety or corner, whatever position you put him at, he's going to succeed there. I think there's too much.
Here's my 2 cents. I have him being an all-pro safety or just a Pro Bowl corner. I mean, he's that talented and good.
Yes. I just think that Tennessee won't pass up on that sort of talent at the number one overall pick. All right, on to the number two overall pick, the Cleveland Browns. Who do you have them taking?
The Cleveland Browns, I have them taking Jaylen Ramsey, the player we just mentioned. Not much more needs to be stated. Could be an all-pro, Pro Bowl, perennial, one of the most talented players in Cleveland. I feel like you got to at least test RG3. I mean, you lost Tayshaun Gibson, and you have nothing on that defense really to build off of. I feel like you got to get a really big piece here.
See, in my draft, obviously, I already have Jaylen Ramsey gone, so I have him taking, I believe, by far the best quarterback in this draft, Carson Wentz. He had an unbelievable pro day. I think that just even more solidifies this pick. Hugh Jackson definitely wants to get a quarterback. In the past with the Raiders, he gave up a ton of picks after Jason Campbell went down and went and traded for Carson Palmer. Who knows if maybe that's the movie try to make with Robert Griffin, but I think Carson Wentz is too talented to pass up. And I'm not sure if he's worth the number two pick, but that's what I see Cleveland do.
I think Carson Wentz is the best quarterback in the draft, and if Cleveland's going to address the quarterback position, they should go Carson Wentz. I think Robert Griffin, I think you should give him a chance.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you get Jaylen Ramsey, you have a piece in that defense that you can build around.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. All right, on to the third overall pick, the San Diego Chargers.
For the San Diego Chargers, I have them selecting Deforest Buckner out of Oregon. I mean, all the tangibles, physical attributes are there. I mean, I think he's 6'7" to 50. I mean, that's an absolute monster right there. And San Diego has no consistent pass rusher. Melvin Ingram can be at times. Corey Liuget can be at times. I feel like putting DeForest Buckner in there would give them a consistent pass rush that they so desperately need if they're going to get back into the playoffs.
Yeah, I definitely see them taking a pass rusher. But in my mock draft, Laremy Tunsil still is available. They have a very weak offensive line. I think it's a no-doubt pick. You take the best offensive lineman in the draft. It's one of your major needs.
Draft that makes sense.
All right, to the fourth overall pick, how about them Cowboys, Dallas? Who do you have them taking?
I have them picking Joey Bosa. A lot of people think they're going to draft Ezekiel Elliott. I think number 4 is way too high to draft Ezekiel Elliott. So that's why I have them selecting Joey Bosa. Jerry Jones likes big names. And he gets a big name here in Joey Bosa, maybe one of the biggest names in the draft. And he's a good pass rusher, could develop into J.J. Watt, could just be a player. But I think you got to take that risk when you have a player who could be the best player on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I also have him taking Joey Bosa. I think Jerry Jones, in my he has to choose between DeForest Buckner and Joey Bosa. I think he'll take Joey Bosa just because of that big name level. I think DeForest Buckner will pan out more, but I also think Joey Bosa fits their system more as one of the top pass rushers in the draft. On to the fifth overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, after free agency, a lot has changed with this team. They have got out, Prince Amukamara. They got, I can't even remember.
Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, no, that was the Giants.
No, sorry. I thought you were talking about the Giants because we said Prince Amukamara. Sorry, they got Tayshaun Gibson up in there. Malik Jackson.
Yeah, Malik Jackson. That's the guy I was thinking of. And they also went out and got a major running back in free agency. I can't.
All right. It was Chris Ivory.
Yeah, Chris Ivory. Sorry, I just kind of stumbled there. All right, who do you have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking?
So as you said, tons of free agent additions. They took a team with an explosive young offense with a shaky offensive line and an defense into a team with a could be elite defense with still an explosive offense with a shaky O-line. That's why I think they're going to draft Ronnie Stanley, because after free agency, the only position group I feel they didn't address is the offensive line that they needed to. And Ronnie Stanley, he offers, I think you draft Laremy Tunsil because for potential to be good and base talent. I think Ronnie Stanley has the base skill and talent right now that he can come in there and make immediate impact and maybe help these Jaguars win the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely already contenders for the AFC South. The only problem they have right now is their shaky offensive line, and I say you go ahead and take the second best offensive lineman in the draft, or some people may argue the best offensive lineman in the draft, and Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame. Who do you have the Baltimore Ravens selecting with the 6th overall pick?
So before, I probably would have had them selecting somebody else, but I think with the departure of Courtney Upshaw, Terrell Suggs' uncertain health and what he'll be doing, and I think you definitely need to go on the pass rush. I think Myles Jack, at this point in the draft, fits that outside linebacker, hyper athletic out of UCLA. I mean, he's proven that he can make plays when necessary, and I think he can even surpass Courtney Upshaw in 1 to 2 years coming off that edge there, and maybe even replace Terrell Suggs as the face of that linebacking core.
Well, Courtney Upshaw is now on the Atlanta Falcons, so I think you have to address that need at linebacker. But at the number 6 pick, I have a hybrid pass rusher with Deforest Buckner, like you said, absolute beast, 6'7", 250. He can play linebacker, he can play defensive end, all around, just do it all, amazing pass rusher. Could be one of the best players in the draft. And with all the problems, like you said, all the injuries and retirements, I haven't taken Deforest Buckner. With the 7th overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers, since the last mock draft, they've hired Chip Kelly, so that kind of changes everything. But who do you have them taking?
So, I feel like Kaepernick's going to get dealt at some point, I feel, or he's not going to start. He's not really I don't think Chip Kelly will do a good job with him. And then you might argue that they have that other, Blaine Gabbert. So I have them selecting, like you said, the best quarterback in the draft, Carson Wentz. I mean, he's proven throughout the draft process that he is the best, only reinforced it at his pro day. I think obviously if you need a quarterback, you draft the best one in the draft.
With that Carson Wentz pick, I'm surprised you didn't have Dallas taking them. I think Jerry Jones would have taken Carson Wentz if he's available, then train him under Tony Romo for a few years, and he could be better than Tony Romo. But that's just my thought on that. I have the San Francisco 49ers taking the other quarterback that some people think is the best quarterback, Jared Goff, out of California. He's a pro-style quarterback. I'm not sure if he really fits the system, but the 49ers don't have a quarterback. I think Chip Kelly will somehow interpret him into his offense, and I think that's really the only need that can be addressed with this number 7 overall pick. All the other positional needs that they have, that position is kind of weak in this draft, so I think Jared Goff is the selection here. On to the 8th overall pick. This was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins made a trade with Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell, giving the Philadelphia Eagles this number 8 overall pick. Who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Ezekiel Elliott. I feel like if the Eagles were smarter, they'd take a different player, but I don't believe in this Eagles front office, and I'm trying to predict it kind of here. I think they'll draft Ezekiel Elliott. Not a bad player by any means. In fact, the best running back in the draft by far, and I feel like he definitely helps them. I mean, even though they have Darren Sproles, they have never shown a propensity to use Darren Sproles on a down-to-down basis. So I think Ezekiel will be a great complement to Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is the pass game. Ezekiel will strengthen the run game, and they'll have a very dynamic offense.
I also have them taking Ezekiel Elliott. They do have positional needs at cornerback. They could go out and get Vernon Hargreaves, but I think Ezekiel...
That'd be a reach.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit of a reach, but I think Ezekiel Elliott would be just the perfect fit for the system. They went and tried to get DeMarco Murray. He didn't really fit the system because he was just a run-heavy running back, but Ezekiel Elliott is a do-it-all running back. You know, he reminds me a lot of Marshall Faulk, who did that in the NFL draft comparisons video, so I just don't see them surpassing on this talent. I don't know why they trade up to the number 8 pick to reach for someone, is basically what
exactly.
All right,
a talented player.
Yeah. On to the 9th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who do you have them selecting?
See, I've been selecting Vernon Hargreaves here. It makes sense. Alteron Verner's declining. I can't recognize a single other corner on that roster. I mean, corner is definitely the position of need here with Levante David and your linebackers and Quan Alexander. I think you leave that there. Of course, you have Gerald McCoy on that defensive line. So I feel like the only thing you got to address on this defense is cornerback and Vernon Hargreaves. I think he was a little bit of a reach here, but he's definitely the best cornerback on the board at that point. Take him.
I also have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Vernon Hargreaves. I always said he's a bit of a reach, but I think he's just the perfect fit for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They have offensive needs, especially on the offensive line. I could see them possibly taking Jack Conklin or a Taylor Decker with this pick, but I think that'd also be a reach. I see them taking Vernon Hargreaves with the 9th overall pick. On to the 10th overall pick, the New York Football Giants. Who you having them taking?
I have him taking Reggie Ragland. So with John Beeson's retirement, he was kind of their stalwart there in the middle of the defense, kind of led them for a while. Was kind of undervalued in the decline, but he definitely, his efforts should be recognized. I feel you got to go, like I said, Reggie Ragland. He can secure that defense, be another good player in this league for many years to come, and I think you definitely got to select him here because Myles Jack is not there, which a lot of people have them selecting.
Yeah, I also have them taking Myles Jack. Giants are another team that had addressed a lot of issues in free agency. They went out and got Janoris Jenkins. They kept
overpaid for Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, but
they got him.
They got a better corner, and they also addressed the defensive line with Sheldon Richardson. So
and Olivier Vernon.
Yeah, so I think they're kind of set there, and I think you have to add a young linebacker in Myles Jack, very athletic, very talented. That's my pick for the 10th overall pick. Now on to the 11th.
Wait.
What?
Sorry, for Sheldon Richardson, it was actually Damon Harrison. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that right? My bad. All right. The 11th overall pick, the Chicago Bears. Who do you have them taking?
For the Chicago Bears, I have them selecting Darren Lee. I think you could go Shaq Lawson here, but I think they have them selecting Darren Lee is one of the best athletes in the draft, had a max vertical, did really well in the bench press, basically proved everybody his pro day and combine that he is a hyper-athletic player who could, if you develop him in the right way, could just get after the quarterback nonstop. I feel like you got to go for that potential here, especially since you're not going to be contending.
Yeah. Well, I think they could be contending. They have been close to contending just because of the fact they have Drew Brees as their quarterback.
Wait, this is the Bears.
Oh yeah, never mind. Sorry, I skipped ahead. All right, the Bears are not going to be contending anytime soon. I haven't taken Shaq Lawson, like you said. Another option for this pick. He's the next best pass rusher in the draft. You could argue to take a guy like Sheldon Rankins or A'Shawn Robinson, a defensive tackle, but I think Shaq Lawson or the other Clemson defensive end, Kevin Dodd, would be the right pick for them here. All right, on to the 12th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints. Like I kind of flipped the picks just a bit ago. New Orleans Saints, who you haven't taken?
So, like you said, very close to contention here. I mean, they didn't even play that badly. They're in a tough division, but I feel like you got to start with that defense. And I think Eli Apple here is the best cornerback on the market right now at that pick right there. I don't think it's too much of a reach, and you get a player that will definitely surpass your best corner, which is Delvin Breaux, in the next 2 years. So I think you definitely got to go corner here, as it's your definite position of need.
I don't have him going corner here. I have him taking one of the best defensive tackle in the draft, A'Shawn Robinson, as he proved in the college football playoff and the late regular season. He can get after the quarterback. He can shove around those interior linemen. He just an ultimate force down in the middle of the defensive line. Can get after the running back. I think that's a main need for them here. They could address the corner position, but I think it'd be too much of a reach to go get Mackenzie Alexander or Eli Apple. So I have them taking A'Shawn Robinson.
I think a D tackle would be a good pick for them. I'm just saying, I think their cornerback is their definite position of need, and I feel like even if it's a little bit of reach, you got to attack the position that so desperately needs it, like corner. If it were closer on the D line to corner ratio, I'd definitely have them going D line, but they definitely need a corner.
All right, on to the 13th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins, originally the Philadelphia pick. Who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Mackenzie Alexander. It's a reach, but I feel like it's a reach they must make. I mean, they cut Brent Grimes. but I feel like you got to go with Mackenzie Alexander because Byron Maxwell doesn't solve anything. I feel like you got to reach here.
I have them taking Jack Conklin out of Michigan State. They have a lot of needs on defense, and I just see the offensive line as one of the main needs. Their offense was abysmal this season, and the offensive line was the main just weakness. And I have them taking Jack Conklin. I think one of the not the most talented, I think the third most talented offensive tackle.
I think he's one of the most polished O-tackles.
Yeah, definitely. All right, on to the 14th overall pick, the Oakland Raiders. Who do you have them taking?
So I think the Oakland Raiders have made a lot of strides here, and I think you got to make that defense even scarier than it is with Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, all those boys down there. I think you got to get Sheldon Rankins here. Some may argue the best D-tackle in the draft. I have him second to like the player you said, A'Shawn Robinson. I feel like Sheldon Rankins has a little bit more potential than A'Shawn Robinson. I feel like that's why you got to go here to improve that defense with Khalil Mack.
Wow, you spoke pretty fast there.
Sorry.
All right, it's all right. I have them taking Mackenzie Alexander, one of the better corners in the draft. They already got Sean Smith, but it would be nice to add another young corner just to kind of bulk up that secondary. They lost Charles Woodson. He covered a lot of the field for them. So I think
a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think they got to take Mackenzie Alexander here. On to the 15th overall pick, the Los Angeles Rams. Who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Laquan Treadwell here. I know a lot of people are thinking Corey Coleman here or like a different player, but I feel like Laquan Treadwell, his measurables are probably like the best of any receiver in the draft. Tall. He's not super fast, but he's fast enough. And when you're tall, you don't need to be incredibly fast to beat corners because corners are like 5'10". He's like above 6 foot. I feel like you got to go here. That's enticing for them considering they have no quarterback. But if you get a receiver, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I have them taking Corey Coleman, the other receiver you mentioned. I think another receiver you could take is Michael Thomas or Josh Doxson. I mean, it's kind of a weak pool of receivers in this draft, but I think Corey Coleman had the best combine. He showed the best speed, and he's only an inch shorter than Laquan Treadwell, so I think they take him with this pick. On to the final pick we will be addressing today, the 16th overall pick, the Detroit Lions. You know, we've watched this team for since we've been living, and we've mourned all the losses. Who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Jack Conklin here. We need to protect our quarterback and young running backs. See, Amir Abdullah has a fumbling issue. Protecting him in the backfield will help that, right? And they definitely need a good offensive lineman here. Their only good offensive lineman really is Larry Warford. And selecting offensive linemen in the first round in consecutive drafts would definitely help them here. They need to protect Stafford and get as much production out of him as they possibly can.
I definitely would agree with taking an offensive lineman. I think you could, in my draft, Jack Conklin is already gone. You could take Taylor Decker here, but I have him taking Sheldon Rankins. I think the second best defensive tackle. They lost Fairley and Sue 2 years ago. They never really addressed that positional need, and I think they have to address it here. Sheldon Rankins, very talented. Some people have him even going top 10. So if he falls to you, I think you have to jump on him right there. That is it for us today at Sports Storm. See you next one. Like, comment what you want us to talk about in the next video. Subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.